Hello, listeners. Senior producer Jason here.
And Madison, associate producer, and we have some exciting news to share with you.
Our extraordinary host of The Girl with the Same Name and the Make That Paper podcast, Jamie Parker Stickle, has signed a 2-book deal with Thomas and Mercer.
Her untitled debut novel is a psychological thriller about a tenacious former Los Angeles reporter turned mother and spin class instructor who can't help but stay true to her investigative nature.
Strapping her 9-month-old baby to her chest, zipping wherever leads take her, and becoming dangerously obsessed in the process, when 2 young women are found dead at her local hiking trail.
Goosebumps. I got actual goosebumps. I cannot wait to read this book.
Agreed. So stay tuned. Follow the show on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, where we'll be posting details and updates about the book and the show. This episode contains descriptions of violence and may not be appropriate for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. This podcast is investigative in nature. The theories and opinions expressed herein belong to the speaking parties and do not necessarily coincide with those of the series producers. Also, we are so grateful that our listeners are interacting with the show in the form of comments and posts on social media. However, we would remind you that this is a true story, and the friends and family of the victim may be reading your posts. Please be respectful of their loss and of their privacy.
Welcome back, Girl with the Same Name listeners. As we have told the story of Jamie Stickle, her life, her death, and the city where she lived, the community she called home, we have done all that we can to ensure our conveyance is accurate, fair, and thorough. We're not perfect, nor are the 22-year-old recollections shared with us by her friends, family, colleagues, and other witnesses. How could they be? But in our effort to maintain journalistic integrity, we have refrained from sharing anything that doesn't meet certain standards of reliability and relevance. Today we are sharing a conversation which we could not include in our reporting. The person we spoke to technically never met Jamie Stickle. She was not even aware of Jamie's story until we brought it to her attention. And we were careful not to tell her too much because she is a person with psychic abilities, and we wanted to ensure that any information she shared with us came from her alone.
I'm Pam. No last name.
Pam does not work professionally as a psychic, and she was not paid any money for this reading, nor for any consulting she has done on this project. She is a friend, and her contribution to the show was made as a personal favor. For these reasons, we are protecting her privacy by concealing her identity, so we are referring to her as Pam instead of her real name.
I would never go so far as to call myself an expert. I think that's dangerous territory for me, because I think what I can bring to the table or what I offer is not an exact science. And it is not something that is easily described. I know a lot of people describe it that way. It's very popular. People are very public. I don't like to be public about it because it is not something that, it's not how I move through the world, if that makes sense. It's not how I pay my bills. It's not how, none of that. It's not a job for me. It just is. And the it is that I am what I would call sensitive to certain things, which means for those who believe in being able to communicate with folks who have passed, that's what that means. It also means having, for lack of a more nuanced term, I will say some sort of psychic ability, which means sometimes you just know things and you don't know why you know them. You just do. Both my mother's side and my father's side are both from the South, but mostly my mother's side. Both her mother and her father have what people would call gifted folks in their line. My mother's mother, her family is Geechee. Geechee Islands are off of South Carolina, and the Geechee folk are from Haiti, mostly. That's where they started. So there is a lot of West African and Haitian practices and spirituality that comes along with that. And I remember when it started to happen to my mom, information started to come to her. And it's very scary when that happens because you don't know what the hell is happening. You think you might lose your mind. Like, am I crazy? What's happening? And so my mom shut it off. When I say shut it off, she tried to ignore it because you can't really shut it off. Mm-hmm. You actually have to reject the gift. You can't just say, oh, I don't, and try to shut it down. You have to literally actively reject it. I chose not to because I thought if I can help somebody, if it's helpful, that's the only reason I want this. Yeah. I don't need to make money from it. Nobody wants that label. Nobody asks for it. Nobody wants it. That's why I don't advertise it, because I don't want people pointing at me. I have a job, a full-time job that I have to go to with other adult people who trust me to do very adult things. And the last thing I need is for them to be like, she's a little, right. So I just don't talk about it. There are people who are psychics. There are people who are mediums. Sometimes you can be both. I happen to be both. Wow, it's weird to say that out loud and kind of own it, because I always never own it. But yes, I happen to be both. And there's something that happens with psychometry, and that is when you can pick up an energetic imprint off of an object, because energy does leave an imprint. Our emotions are energy, and when we express those emotions, a house can have an imprint of energy. Anything can have an imprint of energy. And a lot of times it's something very personal with somebody. It's jewelry, it's a piece of clothing, sometimes it's a vehicle even, not to get all Stephen King, Christine on you, but a strong imprint of energy can be left anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't know then if Jamie will visit or if she's nearby, but we do have some of her personal jewelry that her sister did send to us.
Okay.
When we told Jamie's sister Julie that we would be talking to a psychic, she generously sent us several pieces that belonged to her sister. 2 silver stud earrings of the letter J, a silver bracelet with a 1-inch charm, also the letter J, dangling from it, and a gold hoop earring, and hanging from that a double Venus, which often represents the lesbian community, signifying love and attraction between women. Photos of these items will be posted online. I've had a hard time looking at it and holding it and knowing that it belonged to her in general. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get upset. There's some things that have really upset me about this case and about Jamie's story. So, being close to her things is sort of very real to me. It's like the one.
It makes it real.
It makes it very real. But these were her items that she wore. So she wore that bracelet all the time, and she wore those earrings all the time. Mm-hmm.
I'm just, we've not really discussed this. So yeah. I'm just going to start talking. It could make sense. It could not make sense. Was she a lesbian?
To be clear, Pam had seen the double Venus earring when she asked this. So we presume this was an observation, not an intuition.
I'm sorry. This is going to sound like a terrible question, but I have to ask. Was she wearing this when she passed? I don't feel comfortable saying this out loud, but I'm going to say it. There is a lot of fucking pain. This was not okay. How she passed it was not okay. But there's a combination of love and pain. That's why I said I think this was given to her by someone, or it was associated with someone that she cared very much about. I feel like it was romantic, but did she have this on when she passed? Because this is giving me pain vibes also.
I have to talk to her sister. We later confirmed with Julie that Jamie was not wearing any of this jewelry at the time of her passing.
I don't know. This is giving me love and pain, and I don't know if either she was harmed when this was on or if this was how she passed, but this is given love and like a combo of love and pain, and there was some physical pain attached to this, and it's not okay. That's all I'm going to say. It's just not okay, which is unfortunate because she was scrappy. Somebody hurt her. just a quick little... But she's a fighter. She's so scrappy. She's got like mad scrappy energy, which is great. Like a great kind of fuck you energy, you know what I mean? Like she's a fighter. Oh, and she's mad. She is mad. She is mad. She's mad.
At this point, Pam excused herself, leaving Jason and me alone.
I told you that jewelry, the minute it showed up, I was like, I have feelings.
When Pam returned, she was collected and had this to say.
All right. I am going to say what I normally say to anybody. I'm going to say, if you like it, you can keep it. If you don't, you can send it right back. Yeah. A little Anchorman quote for you. I'm just going to go with what my gut is. And it could be wrong. Everyone, anybody who's listening, just understand that this is not an exact science. I could be wrong. I don't have a problem being wrong. I have no skin in the game here. But stream of conscious, I'll tell you what's happening.
Okay.
Again, the pain, the love. There's a weird vengeance sort of thing, scorned. So, there's like a vengeance. There is a I want to say scorned lover, but it's not that simple as a scorned lover. It is not like, oh, scorned lover, clearly. No. It's twisted. There's like a weird, I want to say triangle, but it feels like there might even be, it's like a square. It's like 4 people. And it's all fucked up and convoluted. And this pain, sorry for swearing, but this pain that I'm feeling, this physical hurt, is attached to, the physical pain is attached to that, I'm going to call it a square, not a triangle. I want to say a square. There are 4 parties involved. And it feels so associated with, again, vengeance. Like literally, the feeling keeps coming up, the word keeps flashing. Like there's some sort of fucked up crime of passion, revenge, vengeance. And it's twisted, dude. Like I wish I could untangle it right now. It doesn't make logical, emotional sense, even as I'm sitting here just saying, okay, letting it all come in. It doesn't make sense at all. And it doesn't make sense to even the parties involved. It doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense. You know, when the thing of like, oh, that escalated quickly. This was a scenario where something escalated quickly. There was a lot of bullshit and shenanigans and tomfoolery and all that dumb shit surrounding it and leading up to it. Like it ramped up and then somebody lost the tether. Like the control was lost and it spiraled. But there were 4, it's a square. I was like, oh, it's entwined. It's not just 2 people, it's 3. It's a triangle. It's not a triangle. I want to say there are 4 people, 4 people involved, for sure. And there was a lot of jealousy, a lot of promises made, promises broken, empty promises, a lie that didn't need to be a lie, that escalated. Emotional manipulation, man, goddamn, this is fucked. A lot of emotional manipulation, and then the lies start happening so much that they can't keep up with the lies, and they just start to snowball until the parties involved believe the story that is not the truth that they told. Does that make sense? You know, when people start to believe, oh, they told the story a particular way so many times, or they told themselves something so many times, they made themselves believe that it was a particular way, that they now fully believe it. Where before it was talking themselves into and convincing themselves that it was a way, and now they fully believe it to the point where they would take it, they would swear to it, take it to their grave. It's that kind of bizarre logic that was born of abandonment issues and fucking betrayal issues and the neediness of and the pick me of it all. And there's a cycle of and the lack of accountability. Yeesh. Nobody wants to take responsibility for anybody. Nobody knows. And nobody knows anything now. Suddenly nobody knows anything. Suddenly nobody can recall anything. Memories are just gone and nobody remembers. And it's all very vague. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. Jamie's frustrated. That's all I get is she's mad and she's frustrated. She's just like mad, like she want to fight kind of mad. I'm laughing because I get that because I am that person that gets so mad that mad tears and then like I want to fight. It's that kind of frustration. Ay. What have you gotten yourself into? I'm looking at you.
Me?
Yes. What have you gotten yourself into? This is a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
This is a clusterfuck of crazy. Oh, but she knew.
She knew it was going to happen?
Well, no, she knew it was crazy. She knew it was crazy. She knew the people that she'd been involved with were crazy. That she knew that it was heightened and crazy and a little out of control, but then that was kind of the appeal a little bit.
The things you're relaying, just so I can understand it, so our audience can understand it.
Sure.
Is this coming from Jamie? No.
Mm-mm. When I say she's mad, that's the feeling I get, and that is coming specifically from her. Everything else is, the initiation was from touching that jewelry.
Is she still present? Like, do you still feel energy?
The only thing I feel, oddly, is, I don't know if this is helpful at all, maybe not, but just a fight. Mm-hmm. She wants to fight. There's anger and fight. I feel anger, frustration, and the need, the desire, and even the activity of fighting. If that makes sense. She had a fighting spirit, like a scrappy energy there.
It's funny that you homed in on that word because that's the word that the community uses to describe her repeatedly.
The idea of standing up for what you believe in, to like the digging your heels in and saying, the Legend of Billie Jean, there's a phrase that she says, fair is fair, and she's like fighting for this fairness, and that is the energy that I get from Jamie. This need to be like, no, damn it! Like there's that. So there's the scrappy, there's the fight, that kind of fight, and then there's the wanting to fight to be heard, and I mean the fight to be heard even after she's gone. Even now that she's gone, rather. And then an actual physical fight. Does that make sense? So all of those things are wrapped up in everything that I'm saying right now. When I say scrappy and frustrated and angry and wanting to fight, all of that is there. That is what I'm getting.
Does she know? Is she aware? Is she present to what's going on now? Or is that not even like a...
What's interesting is the way the energy of this person is presenting is not the typical way that people who have passed present to me, if that makes sense. Meaning, usually I can feel them in such a way that I can describe them. Sometimes I will even crave what they crave, the food that they crave, a cigarette or whatever, the kind of alcohol that they crave. This is not happening in this moment. But it's not happening in this moment because it's not what she's after. She is aware, and this is not pandering to you, but she is, and I quote, fucking happy as shit that somebody is interested, that somebody is talking about, that somebody is trying, that somebody fucking cares. There is a full-on fuck yeah, like feeling that this is being talked about. And here's the thing, not just her. Not that somebody's talking about her, but somebody's talking about it. The it of it all. The energy behind acknowledging what happened. That is what matters for her. It's not about her. She was never me, self-serving, all my... No, it was all about the bigger picture for her. It was all about the community. It was all about... It's more about, so this doesn't happen to another one. Like, it's kept happening. It happened to me. It's happened over and over again. And maybe if somebody figures out what the fuck happened to me, then people will start paying attention to what the fuck happens to other people. Like, she's angry. Sorry. This is definitely her right now. And if somebody fucking is taking the time to at least find out about what happened to me, a nobody. Can you imagine what happens when people pay attention to all the nobodies? Because we're all nobodies until we're somebody. And right now, you guys made me a somebody. She's really happy that y'all made her a somebody. But it's not about her. She's saying you made us a somebody. Wow. Sorry. She's fired up. It's not about her. She's saying it's not about me. And she's like, they know that it's not about me. They have to know it's about me. That it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about us. And the fact that she was like, you're doing a thing and it's a domino effect and she just wants you to keep going. Because if the fact that you're talking about me means you're talking about us, and more people will talk about us and we won't just disappear because, sorry, that's the thing. She just fucking felt like she just fucking disappeared. She felt like she disappeared. And it was really fucking unfair. And so many people are disappearing. And it's not about her. She's saying it's about us. We don't just disappear. Something happened. Something actually happened. And people need to care what happened. We don't just go away.
So, there's a gap of time from the time she left work, left people, and went home before the 911 call was made that the Jeep was on fire. Is she able to talk about what transpired in that hour of time?
I'll see what I get. It's not an entirely well-populated area. It's a little dark. Not very many streetlights. They're like way spaced out. So it's kind of dark. But it wasn't a straight shot. There was a stop. There was a stop. It wasn't way off, way out of the way. It's still unpopulated, and it wasn't very long, and I'm like trying to stop. I'm asking now in my head, I'm like, hey, was it a store? What was it? Not getting any of that, but there was a brief pause, Because right now, what I see is road, like I'm driving. And then there's a pause. And the home is not that far. It's not that long, really. There's a pause. And I don't know what the pause is. I can't see what the pause is, but there is for sure a pause in the road, because I'm going to tell you what I see. I see the road, it stops. You know how you're like if you were to see it on TV or something, you'd see the road moving, and then you'd see where a car or a vehicle stops. And then I don't know. Everything gets really fuzzy at that point.
Okay.
When I say fuzzy, I mean there's a smell. It's stale. It smells like stale cigarettes. It's kind of musty. That's it. Right now, there's a smell. There's a stop. I can't even go so far as to say, and then she got out of the car and whatever. I can't. I just know that there's a stop, and then there's a smell that's musty, and it smells like stale cigarettes, and kind of like an old. You ever get into an old car, like a car that was owned by somebody that oversmoked, and the seats smell like it and whatever? There's that smell that's stale and musty. Those are the only things that I have.
Okay.
Does she remember, or can she tell if there were people when she got home? Did she get home?
I don't have anything beyond what I just said to you. I don't know if the journey continued. I don't know if the journey ended there. I got nothing on that. Like, when I say I got nothing, I mean literally. Energetically, there's not even a feeling.
Is there anything left over that she wants to say or wants us to know or feel? Does that make sense?
Yeah, the question makes sense. And again, it's not about her. She keeps saying it's not about me. It's me, but it's not about me. And that's really very important to her for whatever reason. That this isn't some self-centered, narcissistic, why does anybody care what happened to me? No, this is about the community, the us of it. It's the us. She knows her sister tried. She knows. She knows that it mattered. She knows.
Talking to Pam about Jamie, or talking to Jamie through Pam. Whichever we were doing that night, it was an emotional and transformative experience. It didn't lead us to a smoking gun. Pam wasn't able to tell us who murdered Jamie or where we could find the evidence needed to convict that person or those people. But let's take a moment to address the cynical elephant in the room. And by no means is cynicism a bad thing. We've had to question every story that has been told to us as we have researched Jamie's case, and this is no exception. So to be clear, while we did not share the details of Jamie's story with Pam, we have to acknowledge the possibility that she could have learned some of those details by conducting her own research, or by listening to our podcast, as the first 2 episodes had already been released at the time this interview was conducted. There's no way for us to know for sure, but she does assert to this day that she still has not listened to the show and has not made any efforts to learn about who Jamie Stickle was or what happened to her 22 years ago. And I believe her. We believe her. Pam told us a lot of things that night. This interview, this reading, whatever label you want to put on it, lasted for over 3 hours. And like Pam suggested, there were things we couldn't include. Some of it we weren't able to verify, and so we didn't feel right sharing. There were times that Pam asked us to turn the recorder off. Shortly after holding Jamie's jewelry, she was overcome and had to put it down and could not pick it back up. We don't pretend to understand what happened that night or know how it worked or whether we were really communicating with Jamie Stickle from beyond the grave. But Pam did help us to understand something about Jamie that so many people from her life had already shared with us. That Jamie was and is not about herself. She's about community, about others, about all of us. And as we continue to tell Jamie's story and others, we remember that about her. If you enjoy The Girl with the Same Name, please take a moment right now to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. It would really help us out. You can follow the show on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook at The Girl with the Same Name, and you can sign up for our mailing list on our website, thegirlwiththeSameName.com. You can also follow us on TikTok with some new and exciting reviews of the show at TGWTSN. This is an ongoing investigation. If you have any information about Jamie Stickle's life or death, we want to hear from you. Please call our tip line at 412-822-6123 or send us an email to thegirlwiththeSameName@gmail.com, or you can call the Pittsburgh Police tip line at 412-323-7800. If you have photos, video, or audio recordings of Jamie, you can send them to us or share them on social media and tag the show at The Girl with the Same Name. The Girl with the Same Name is a production of Make That Paper Productions. I am your host, Jamie Stickle. This episode was researched, written, and produced by myself and Jason Bieber. Our associate producer is Madison Westenheiser. The show was edited and sound designed by Jason Bieber. Armani Artis is our intern. The original theme song was composed and recorded by Brian Hendricks. Additional music and sound effects are from freesound.org or were generated using Songburst AI. We would like to thank the following people who generously contributed their time and expertise. Our legal counsel is Amanda Mogadam. We received private investigation assistance from Lori Rokenbeck. Our law enforcement advisor is Sergeant Brandon Roy. And Superfan Promotions did our publicity. We would like to send an enormous thank you to all our Kickstarter supporters. Without your contributions and belief in our work, we would not have been able to tell Jamie's story. Thank you, and special thanks go out to Parvesh China, Brian Assman, George Leone, Daniel Alexander, Jim Shepard, Grant Wood, Stephen Skoblick, and April Snow Cass. Thank you, everyone.